All steelhead flies here, and although they're bright and gaudy, they're classic steelhead flies, which means there's anywhere from like 1920 up to about 1970 would cover classic steelhead flies before marabou got into them, you know. So a lot of the traditional ones used chenille, lots of tinsel, lots of flowing hackle, and polar bear. These are all done with runner. Some of the really old ones, Surgeon General, Alaska Marianne, green butt skunk. That one used to use the white and black from a skunk, you know, the smelly creatures. That one is forgot it for the minute. This is a Stilgamus sunset, and there's a Stilgamus sunrise to go with it. And this one is a Patriot. Yeah, that one will come to me in a minute. I can't remember what it is. So a lot of the patterns were based on English trout patterns to start with, and you'll see certain. The Peter Ross is almost represented in some steelhead flies. Almost, you know, he hasn't got a teal wing; he's got a squirrel wing. So you know, a lot of them did come from British trout patterns. It's got its own little history. It's down the west coast, mainly of the US, Oregon, Washington, Canada, British Columbia. That's the real stronghold of it. Some of the Great Lakes have got runs of steelhead, or what they call steelhead. Down and across fishing, winter fishing, great big rainbow trout basically. A bit like daytime sea trout fishing. So, generally they're quite big patterns. These are ones. This is a Partridge N2, which is a lightweight single. And what I like about these is they're really quick and simple materials. There's nothing fancy about them at all, really. A lot of them use chenille or wool for the bodies. A lot of them use golden pheasant for tails. Any white hair. Traditionally would have been polar bear or bucktail, calf tail. Nice flies to tie. Anyway, so let's have a look. So I'm going back down to that return again. And I'm going to put in a tag. Again, this is quite fine. One of the sort of common traits on these flies is quite a high set wing. And the rivers they're fishing are quite fast, boulder strewn, deep canyon type rivers like the Umpqua. So they want lots of action in that wing. So these single hooks now, what I try and do is tie them in a low water style. So I tie a fly that's a size smaller than the hook it's on. It keeps it nice and light, keeps it fishing high in the water. You still got that cocked up wing, almost vertical wing that you see, not vertical, but you know, up off the shank. It keeps the fly nice and open, keeps the hook nice and exposed at the back. So I stop the body short. Gives you the chance to put on a nice long tail, a bit more colour in there. So we'll see how it develops from there. So I'm stopping short of the barb by about the length of the point. Does that make sense? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Again, I use the thread and the weighted bobbin to guide that butt up. Much more than you would on a salmon fly. Probably 10 turns. Something like that. Nice and long. It's a big feature on these flies. Catch it in the same way. See if it works this time. Yeah, it's worked this time. What colour backgrounds do you guys tie on? I'm looking at this, I can't see anything.
White.
Yeah, white, yeah. Okay, so that's the body. First thing is going to be the tail. And I really like, one of my favourite things for putting tails is golden pheasant. Back down to the butt. You can get some really nice hot colours with these. If you dye them up. Yeah, this one's going to be called a Skycomish Sunrise. So it's got a red and yellow tail. So let's use that one there. So the red's going to go on the bottom, and I'm going to put yellow on the top. There's a little box there. And this is one of the yellow feathers that's been dyed out of one of those white pheasants. Same feather, but from a white pheasant, not a golden pheasant. And these go on really easy. So all we do with these is strip them back. It's easier than top-in tail. Broken that one. You don't need much, probably half a dozen fibres either side. So you've got that sort of shape, yeah. And all you do is lay it flat on top of the hook so the curve goes up, hold it there, take 2 loose wraps round the stem and just pull it in. There it is, goes in that easy. Do the same with the yellow one on the top.
You don't cut the middle out.
The middle out? No, you don't really need to with these because a lot of breast and rump hackles on any bird, and if you look at, like this is a guinea fowl, so just take one of these as an example, the same part of the bird, if you look, the tips are naturally aligned anyway.
Yeah.
If they stuck out any more, I'd take the tip out. But there's, partridge is the same.
Right.
You got that nice spread.
Can I? Thanks for having us. Well, sorry, we've got to disappear now.
Nice to meet you, gents.
Okay, thanks a lot. Bye. Bye.
Go do that then. Yeah. So same thing. Just pop it on top, on the shaft of the feather, and gently slide it in, so they're the same length, one on top of the other. So look at that. Close enough. Then tighten up. You don't have to worry about the underbodies of these because it's going to be a nice thick wool body on top. They won't go anywhere. On these I like a thick rib, so you could use flat tinsel on these quite nicely. It's good contrast to the body. This is again a sort of reasonably wide oval, which is what I've got here. On the bottom, careful point here now is as you get down to the tail, make sure you hold it out of the way because the thread will have a tendency to bring it round the shank as you put the tension on. So that's the tail. Start at the rib. Skycomas use red wool or red chenille. I suspect the chenille was more of a 1970s thing. Prior to that, it would have been yarns. Anything they had, So you think of the sort of West Coast USA in the 1920s, it's not the California it is now, is it? Or was it? I don't think. It was quite a remote area. So take 2 strands of this 4. Really don't have to worry about this. Just lash it in. I tied a lot of stoats tails with black wool bodies the other week, and they went down quite well. They looked quite nice once they were done. Better than a floss. And this is great. You just wrap it up. So I'm putting in 2 hackles and a head and a wing. So I'm going to leave perhaps 4mm. Everything bites into the wool nicely as well. and that rib back. You can see how that bites in there, it will never come out. Right, so what's normal with these is the hackle goes on before the wing, it's the other way round. So that's nice, straightforward. So it's going to use a red hackle again. Again, we'll use 2. So 3. Look for that sweet spot. Made a stupid mistake. It's a red and a yellow hackle, sorry.
You wouldn't have known.
I know you wouldn't have known, but you know, I'd never slept. That's why I chose this one, because it's got a mixed hackle. So these are going to be wrapped together. So this is quite, do you tie cascades or anything like that?
Mm.
Yeah, this is quite a nice effect on a cascade. Because normally it's the yellow then the orange.
Mm.
You could tie them together and you get a really nice variegated effect. On the side.
You're rubbing the back of the hackle, aren't you?
Yeah,
To double it.
yeah. So for wet fly hackle especially, if you want it to slope back,
Yeah.
you have to sort of stroke them back as you go.
Oh yeah.
There's a couple of ways of doing it. You could, like, let's say, use a big hackle so you can see. If I'm tying flies with a body palmer hackle, or if I'm tying flies that really got to look like the business, I do it in my hand before I tie it in. So you stroke them back. If you've seen this, just say. Yeah. So they all, can you see that? Yeah. Then I hold it by my little finger, finger and thumb. Yeah.
Yes.
Then I just stroke them back like that as I go down. So you can see them folding back against each other, yeah? So when I tie the hackle in, it's pre-folded. Can you see that? Yeah. The beauty of doing that is you could get every hackle fibre to lie exactly where you want it. But it is a faff. But that's the old-fashioned way of doing it. So if you're going to tie 100 flies, you sit down and do that 100 times before you started. Yeah? So that's one way of folding them. The other way of folding them is tying them in, as we did there, and instead of weakening that centre bit with the scissors, just hold them back with your fingers as you wrap. But that leads, you can see the mess I've got there already.
Yeah.
So you've got to be really careful with that method. But if you just rub, you take the sharp edge of your scissor and rub it down either side of the shaft, it just weakens it enough
Oh, I see.
to fold it back.
Yeah.
And if you hold that first wrap, just start it, let go, yeah, and they'll just wrap one after the other. The only thing that's going to push that out is it catching on the thread. Yeah, very neat way of doing it. And it works with cock hackles, it works with hen, it works with game bird hackles, whatever you want to use. So, the hackles, 2 hackles now, the other side from me, I'm taking the thread up alongside it, then bend the hackle. See it? And I've got it then. And nothing really sticking out over the front. You can then just hold it back, a couple of wraps and you're there. That sort of gets a bit like muscle memory after a while, you know, you just do it. With these fold and hold, I call it, fold and hold methods, you're putting those twists into the hackle, so you've got to remember to take them out. And that just with a brush. Then a bit of your nice Arctic runner. Very few of these old traditional steelhead flies had flash in them other than the ribs, so I'm not going to put any flash in this. Very few of them had jungle cock. Very simple sort of working flies. So again, I'm going for the stacked wing look. I don't know what, you know. Interesting point about hair wings, which might not seem right when you first hear it. The smaller the fly, the more hair you put in. Yeah? And the reason for that is the taper of the hair towards the tips. So as that wing gets shorter and shorter and shorter, the diameter of the hair gets less and less and less. So
You need more.
you need more. So a big fly like this, I've probably got half the amount that a fly half this size would use. And that's true of any hair. Just a little tapper. Yeah, I should have done a really small one for you. You'd be like saying, "Good God, we're going to tie all that on the top."
Take your word for it.
Yeah.
Now, do you change the gap on the marking on your fingernail?
Absolutely. Yeah, but you know, if it's very
On the-
rare.
Sorry, on this fly,
Mm.
this size fly, how wide would you mark, like, you know, your fingernail?
The width,
you know?
just about the width of the double wire there.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want any of the hair to go round the shank, and as you see, a couple of times tonight that's happened, and that's because I haven't measured. I've just taken a clump off and thought, yeah, that's about right. But if you send
So
these
you
flies
change
off,
the size of the hook,
yeah,
the
it's,
wire is thicker,
yeah.
you
But
have to...
but as it gets to the small hooks, yeah,
put-
you could have more hair
yeah.
because you're tying in at a narrower point on the taper. Yeah, yeah. So there's your nice swing. Really like this stuff. It's got a nice sparkle. It's very, very mobile, and it's consistent. You know, beautifully prepared. I don't know how they do it. So again, just shorter than the tail. Same thing. Change hands. Find your scissors and all a mess. So that is really a little bit too much for this hook. Can you see it? Yeah.
Only just, like, you know,
Yeah, yeah. It's a bit too much for this hook, really. Anyway, layer of thread. And what the main function of this hackle now here, construction-wise, is to give this wing a nice tilt. But when you tie the hair wing in, because we cut the end, and you think that you want that wing to tilt up, I see it so often in the classes and stuff, people try and put that wing on at an angle, like that. And when you start wrapping your thread, all you're doing is catching the top edge of the, yeah? So whatever you're doing hair wing wise, you want to lay, and if you're putting on feather wings on wet flies, or salmon flies, you should lay that parallel to the hook shank as you can, like that. So then you're taking a wrap over the full width of the hair, there. Caught a hackle fibre there. So as I get down to the middle of that head, now the pressure's coming on. See it flare? Keep that pressure right on. Cover your cut ends. I don't think you can reasonably expect a smaller head than that, really, and it be secure. So that's a typical steelhead construction, and you see that in the water, fast water, much faster than you would a salmon fish. You see it flicker and move. Pretty flies these, I think, anyway. That's it, and then you just finish it as normal. If you've got that flare, I mean, some people like it to flare out like that, and you can see what I mean. That's okay. If you want to get more control of that, you can use your finishing thread. This is Uni 80 again, 8/0, sorry. You can sweep it back a little, and then you can use some looser wraps just to gather it a bit. And off you go. Finish your head. And you've got more control of it. I use that method a lot. That also works with quill wings, duck quill wings.
Okay, Michael. Bye. Good night.
That's it, guys, really.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any questions about anything while I'm here?
No, I think you've explained everything really well.
I'm saving them all for the weekend.
Huh?
I'm saving them all for the weekend.
Oh.
Well, think of more then.
Huh. I'm looking forward to that. Should be a good show.
Yeah.
All right.